Everyone ignored the freezing old man until a black waitress held his hand. The moment she did, the restaurant's mask of civility shattered. "Please, can someone help me? I don't remember how to get home." The man's frail voice cut through the clinking of crystal glasses and low jazz music, but no one lifted their head. Forks continued to slice through $80 steaks. The elderly stranger shuffled between tables, lost and unseen. Maya Brooks had just clocked her 16th straight hour. Her apron was stained with coffee, but her focus sharpened when she saw him. An old veteran, disoriented, frightened, wearing a faded army jacket that once meant something. She knew the look in his eyes. The fog of confusion, the panic of realizing memory was failing again. She had seen it in her grandmother before Alzheimer's took her completely. Across the room, manager Victor Hale strode forward, voice heavy with irritation. "Sir, you can't just wander in here. You're disturbing our guests." The words dripped with disdain. He saw only a nuisance, not a man. The veteran's voice cracked. I served in Vietnam. My wife, she used to pick me up here. But I can't remember." His trembling hand brushed a medal on his jacket. Maya exhaled, set her tray down, and ignored every unspoken rule about hierarchy and appearances. She crouched beside him. "Hey, it's okay," she said, her tone firm but calm. "What's your name? Let's figure it out together." Victor's jaw tightened. "Maya, get back to work. Security's on the way." But she didn't even glance at him. The man's eyes darted, his memory flickering like a dying light. "Arthur," he whispered. "Arthur Keaton." Maya froze. The name meant nothing to her yet, but the world would soon recognize it. Arthur Keaton wasn't a drifter. He was the founder of Keaton Dynamics, a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. But in that moment, all that remained of him was confusion and loneliness. She led Arthur to a quiet corner table, away from the eyes of men and women who measured worth by price tags. His watch caught her attention. Silver engraved Arthur and Margaret. 50 years. He touched it like a prayer. "My wife made the best cookies," he murmured, voice trembling with both memory and loss. Victor's voice slashed through the moment. "Maya, you're fired." Every head in the restaurant turned. The air froze. Maya didn't flinch. She kept holding Arthur's hand. "My shift ends at 11, she said evenly. "Until then, I'm still on duty." Victor's face flushed red. "I don't pay you to play charity worker." From the kitchen, Carlos Mendez leaned against the doorframe. "Maybe let her finish, boss," he muttered. Victor spun, furious. "Stay out of it, Carlos." Arthur's fingers tightened around Maya's. For the first time in hours, his words came clear. "Are you in trouble because of me?" Maya shook her head slightly. "No, sir. You're fine. We'll figure this out." She noticed more details now. The steady lines in his hands, the kind that came from decades signing contracts, building empires. The signs were there for anyone willing to look beyond the surface. Victor returned with a small security camera, sneering. "Since you're so proud, let's record your act of defiance. Maybe the owner will enjoy seeing you babysit a bum." The staff froze. Lindsay, the hostess, whispered to another server. "She's done for. No one crosses Victor." But Maya didn't move. She kept her focus on Arthur, on the man everyone else refused to see. Behind her calm eyes was something Victor couldn't understand. Quiet defiance born from generations of endurance. Arthur Keaton wasn't just an old man lost in memory. And Maya Brooks wasn't just a waitress. This meeting, this act of human decency, was about to expose how rotten wealth could become when compassion was stripped away. The old man's fragmented memories flickered like a broken film reel. 1 second lucid, the next lost. But Maya recognized the pattern immediately. This wasn't random confusion. It was textbook Alzheimer's. She had seen it too many times in the clinic years ago. "Arthur," she said softly, leaning closer, "do you remember what kind of work you did?" For a brief moment, clarity returned to his blue eyes. "There were meetings," he muttered. "People listened to me. I made decisions." Then frustration took over. "Construction? No. No, that's not right." Victor Hale snorted from behind his camera. "See? Completely gone. The man doesn't even know who he is." He panned the lens mockingly toward Maya. Maya's calm never broke. Instead, she reached into her apron and pulled out her phone. Turning her camera on herself, she spoke steadily. her tone surgical and deliberate. "For the record," she said, "it's 10:43 p.m., March 15th. My name is Maya Brooks. I've been employed at the Velvet Fork for 5 years. I am being terminated for assisting an elderly man who is clearly disoriented and in need of help." Lindsay Price hurried over, whispering nervously, "Maya, what are you doing?" "Documenting," Maya replied flatly. "Because truth needs a witness," Victor laughed. "Go ahead. The owner will love this. Makes firing you even easier." He didn't know Maya had been documenting everything for 2 years, every racial slight, every act of discrimination disguised as a policy, every time management humiliated a black employee for less than this. She had screenshots, recordings, testimony. She just hadn't used them. Yet. Arthur mumbled something, eyes flickering open. "Margaret always said, 'When you see injustice, don't stay silent.'" Maya froze for half a second. Even through his confusion, his words carried an echo of moral clarity. "She was right," Maya whispered. "Very right." Victor mistook her silence for surrender. "Now that you've finished your therapy session, both of you, out." Maya rose, steady and unshaken, helping Arthur to his feet. Before leaving, she turned to Victor with a smile that unnerved him. "Victor," she said sweetly, "are you sure you want this video documented and sent to the owner?" He straightened, puffing out his chest. "Absolutely." "Perfect," she said, slipping her phone into her pocket. "Then let's do this properly." As she led Arthur through the corridor toward the exit, Lindsay's voice trembled behind her. "You're really just leaving?" Maya glanced back. "Tomorrow you'll understand why some fights are worth losing." Outside, the cold night wrapped around them. Arthur clung to her arm like a child, trusting her completely. "My house is nearby," she lied gently, not wanting to panic him. "We'll get you home soon." He looked up at the stars, his voice soft and wandering. "Margaret used to say, 'Good people shine brightest on dark nights.' You're shining, dear." The way he spoke, refined diction, steady rhythm, didn't match a man without means. The watch, the manicured hands, the posture. Everything about him hinted at wealth hidden beneath confusion. Her phone vibrated. "A text from Marcus. Saw your message. Did that manager really fire you for helping an elderly man? Send me the footage. This could be a case." She sent the recordings to him without hesitation. As she did, Arthur murmured names of streets that seemed too deliberate to be random. "Arthur," she asked quietly, "do you remember where you keep your important things?" "Your ID, maybe." He tapped his chest. "Inside pocket. Margaret always said, 'Never leave without it.'" She reached into his worn jacket and pulled out a cracked leather wallet. The moment she opened it, her breath caught. The ID read, "Arthur Keaton. Dress, North Crest Avenue, Beacon Hill." Beacon Hill, the city's richest enclave. But it was the yellowed business card that froze her hand. Arthur Keaton, founder and CEO, Keaton Dynamics. Her pulse quickened. Everything suddenly made sense. The language, the poise, the watch. The man sitting beside her wasn't a drifter. He was one of the city's most powerful industrialists. Inside the wallet was also a medical emergency card. Alzheimer's. Diagnosed 3 years ago. And a handwritten note? "If found, call Elizabeth Keaton, daughter." Back inside the restaurant, Victor Hale was busy rewriting the night's events. He poured himself a glass of expensive whiskey, laughing with his staff. "You should have seen her face," he bragged. 5 years here, and she really thought she could talk back to me over some senile beggar." Lindsay frowned. "Don't you think that was harsh? She was just being kind." "Kind?" Victor barked a laugh. "People like her always play the victim. I did everyone a favor." Carlos stayed silent, arms crossed, eyes dark. He'd seen this before. Victor smirked, holding up his phone. "And don't worry, I've already sent her little stunt to a few of my contacts. She'll never work in another decent restaurant again." He didn't notice Lindsay quietly pulling out her own phone earlier that night, snapping a photo of the wallet Maya had shown her. She had already sent it to Maya with a short message. "Girl, look up Arthur Keaton." Now, sitting on a park bench outside, Maya stared at her phone screen. The search results hit her like a jolt. Arthur Keaton, 78, founder of Keaton Dynamics. Estimated fortune, $3.2 billion. Widower. Diagnosed with Alzheimer's, missing for 48 hours. Family offers a $100,000 reward for information. Maya looked at the sleeping man beside her, his head resting lightly on her shoulder. A strange mix of awe and sorrow settled over her. The city had stepped over him, the restaurant had mocked him, and she had found him. For a few moments, Maya Brooks sat in silence beside the sleeping old man. Relief came first and deep and grounding. She'd helped someone who truly needed it. Then came anger, cold, deliberate anger. As the reality settled in, Victor Hale hadn't just mocked her. He had humiliated a man who could probably buy the velvet fork and forget about it by morning. She took out the worn wallet again and dialed the emergency number on the card inside. After a few rings, a tense voice answered. "Hello, please, have you found my father?" "This is Maya Brooks," she said evenly. "Your father is safe with me. He got lost near the velvet fork, but he's all right." The silence stretched long enough for Maya to hear quiet sobs before the woman's voice broke again. Thank you, God. We've been searching for hours. The police, private security, everyone. Where are you?" "I'll come right away." Maya gave the location, then hung up. For the first time since her firing, she smiled. Not from happiness, but clarity. This wasn't just about her lost job. This was about Victor Hale finally facing the consequences of his arrogance. She called her cousin. "Marcus, I need something specific," she said. "Research legal protections for people with cognitive impairments in public establishments." Marcus's tone sharpened. "Why? What's going on?" "Let's just say," she replied, "the man Victor called a crazy beggar isn't exactly what he seems, and Victor Hale is about to regret underestimating the wrong woman." 10 minutes later, a sleek black car rolled to a stop near the curb. A woman in her early 40s stepped out. Elegant, purposeful, her eyes red from crying. Evelyn Keaton froze when she saw her father, Arthur Keaton, asleep with his head resting on Maya's lap. "Daddy," she whispered, voice breaking. She turned to Maya, tears spilling freely. "Thank you for taking care of him. I don't even know how to repay you. Do you need anything? Money, a job, anything?" Maya shook her head, gaze fixed on the restaurant window where Victor Hale's silhouette still laughed among his staff. "Actually," she said, "there are a few things you should see about how your father was treated tonight, and about the place that treated him that way. I have it all recorded." Evelyn looked at her, speechless, there on that cold park bench. As Maya helped Arthur stand and handed him back to his daughter, she understood something profound. Victor Hale had just ruined himself. What began as an act of simple compassion was now justice in motion, and it was about to cost him everything. Later, Evelyn sat beside her father in the car, watching the recordings Maya had sent. Her face grew redder with every replay. "That man called my father a crazy beggar," she said, voice trembling with restrained fury. Maya nodded calmly. "He did worse. He fired me for helping him, spread lies about me to other restaurants, and filmed it like a trophy." Arthur, now more lucid after his rest, reached for his daughter's hand. "This young woman was kind to me," he murmured. "Those others were cruel." Evelyn clenched her fists. "Maya, did you say that man is still inside celebrating?" "Most likely," Maya said, her tone flat. "Victor loves to toast his own victories, especially when they come at someone else's expense." Evelyn's eyes hardened. Her father's humiliation had already ignited something far bigger than revenge. It had triggered justice, and she had every means to make it happen. "Perfect," said Evelyn Keaton, lowering her phone from her ear. Then turning to Maya, her tone hardened with purpose. "Mark, this is Evelyn Keaton. Bring your crew to the Velvet Fork immediately. You remember that expose you wanted to do on discrimination in luxury establishments? Just found your headline story." 20 minutes later, an unmarked white van stopped near the restaurant's entrance. From it emerged Mark Daniels, carrying professional calm like a weapon. He adjusted his camera rig and signaled to his crew, every move precise, surgical. Evelyn faced Maya. "You're coming in with me. This is your story, your justice. Now you have the legal and media firepower to end him properly." Inside, Victor Hale was still in full celebration mode. He'd just sent photos of the earlier confrontation to a group chat, laughing with his colleagues over voice notes. His Facebook post read, "Another one down. Emotional employees always think tears equal power." He was on a call now, bragging. "You should have seen her face when I told her she was fired." Victor laughed. "They all think drama gets sympathy, not with me. I run a clean ship." Clara Ruiz, the hostess, shifted uneasily. "Victor, maybe you should stop spreading that video." What if what? He snapped. I did this place a favor. I kept the riffraff out and prevented a scene. I'm the reason this place still has a reputation. That's when the glass doors opened. Silence followed. Maya Brooks entered first, calm, composed, unflinching. Behind her, Evelyn Keaton, her posture sharp with authority. Arthur Keaton followed slowly, leaning on Maya's arm. Then Mark Daniels and his camera crew entered, lenses gleaming, lights fixed on the target. Victor Hale, the name cut through the air like a blade. He straightened, forced a professional smile. That's me. How can I help you? Evelyn didn't return the smile. My name is Evelyn Keaton. This is my father, Arthur Keaton, the man you called a crazy beggar tonight. Victor's face drained of color. The name struck him like a blow. Keaton? As in Keaton Holdings? Exactly, Evelyn replied. Net worth $3 billion. And you humiliated a decorated war veteran with Alzheimer's, filmed it for your amusement, and fired the only employee who showed him compassion. Every head in the restaurant turned. The camera light hit Victor square in the face. His forced grin faltered. Clara's hand covered her mouth. Tony stood frozen near the kitchen door. The staff gathered quietly, their eyes wide, like witnesses at a public execution. I didn't know, Victor stammered, sweat breaking across his forehead. Mark Daniels stepped closer, microphone in hand. You didn't know? We have recordings of you mocking Mr. Keaton, calling him a crazy bum, and berating your employee for basic decency. Would you like to clarify that for our viewers? Victor's mouth opened, but no sound came. Evelyn's voice sliced through again. In addition to a lawsuit for discrimination against cognitively impaired individuals, I also possess your messages defaming Ms. Brooks to other establishments. That's slander and professional sabotage. Victor's panic was visible now. Please, it was a misunderstanding. Then explain this, Maya interrupted, her voice calm but ice-edged. She pressed play on her phone. Victor's recorded voice filled the restaurant. People like Maya always play the victim, always looking for drama. The phrase people like Maya hung in the air, thick, undeniable, racial. Mark turned back to the camera. We're live at the Velvet Fork, where manager Victor Hale has just been confronted for discriminatory behavior against both a disabled senior and a black employee. Victor flinched at the word live. The camera red light glowed like a sentence being written. That's not what I... Didn't mean what? Evelyn pressed. Didn't mean to call my father a crazy bum. Didn't mean to punish compassion. Didn't mean to show the world exactly who you are? Victor's phone rang. He hesitated, then answered. The voice was flat, corporate, and final. Mr. Hale, this is management. You're terminated effective immediately. Expect legal proceedings for damages to our brand. The call cut. Evelyn turned to Maya with a cold smile. Would you like to tell the audience what you plan to do with the settlement? Maya straightened, her voice unwavering. I'll use the compensation to open a community center for Alzheimer's patients and their families, in memory of my grandmother, and in honor of Mr. Keaton, who reminded me that kindness still matters. Victor sank into a chair, lifeless. Within hours, the broadcast went viral. Billions watched his downfall unfold in real time. The once proud manager became the national emblem of arrogance exposed. 6 months later, a ribbon fluttered beneath silver scissors. Maya Brooks stood beside Evelyn and Arthur Keaton at the grand opening of the Keaton Alzheimer's Support Center. Compensation funds had built the facility. Compassion had built its soul. Arthur, clearer than he'd been in months, smiled at the crowd. This woman saved my life twice. Once when she brought me home, and again when she gave me purpose. Across town, in a cramped apartment, Victor Hale watched the ceremony on TV. The same video that destroyed him was now studied in business ethics classes, how to ruin a career in 30 seconds. Back at the Velvet Fork, Clara Ruiz was now manager. She texted Maya, "If you ever want your job back, it's yours. Things are different now." Maya smiled but didn't reply. She was busy overseeing a program helping hundreds of families navigate Alzheimer's. Tony Vargas, once the restaurant chef, now cooked at the center, meals designed for memory care patients. "Here," Tony said once during a news interview, "I finally cook with purpose." Evelyn Keaton, now co-director of the foundation, announced scholarships for young caregivers and medical students from underrepresented communities. My father always said good people recognize good people, she told reporters. Maya proved that. Victor's final act, a defamation suit, and was dismissed in under 2 days. The judge, after watching the evidence, ended the hearing with a single line. Some reputations destroy themselves. At the center's dedication, a reporter asked Maya if she held any grudge. No, she said quietly. Holding a grudge gives small people too much power. I prefer to build something they could never touch. Arthur clasped her hand, eyes glistening. Sometimes angels don't fall from the sky, he said softly. Sometimes they clock out from a double shift and still find time to see our humanity. Applause filled the hall. And as Maya stood there, once a dismissed waitress, now a symbol of dignity and reform, she understood. Victor Hale's cruelty had done more for her purpose than any promotion ever could. The best revenge wasn't his ruin, it was her legacy.